The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Caldwell, Idaho, on your new apparatus, job number 30709. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start on the front bumper area. On the right and left-hand side of the front bumper, you'll find emergency warning lights. Moving around to the front of the bumper on the passenger side, you'll find 2 forward-facing air horns. Moving just inward of that location, you'll find 2 attachment points, tow hooks, which are closed. And on the cutout section on the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the bumper, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge port. And moving to the center of the bumper, you'll find a tubbed storage location with a rigid cover. Let's move to the outer edge of the body. You'll find a marker turn indicator. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight cluster housing the low and high beam headlights. The inner beam will be the high beam and the outer is low. Moving up from that location, you'll find your turn indicator and also an emergency warning light. Moving up onto the top, just under the windshield, you'll find a grab handle on the right and left side. This is going to be that front discharge, water and foam capable. Moving now to the headlight cluster and also turn and emergency light cluster. This is the center area for the tubbed storage location with a cutout on the top portion for the hose. And on the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the seamless one-piece windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the front. Moving all the way to the top on the brow, just above the windshield, you'll find your running lights. Just inward of that location, you'll find 2 forward-facing floodlights. Up onto the very top, you'll find a full-width light bar. Located in the center, in the black housing, you'll find a forward-facing camera. And just over the driver's position, you'll find your opticom. Here's a close-up of those images with the camera and also the opticom. Let's take a look now at the driver's side of the vehicle. Once again, we're looking at that side-facing emergency light. Moving up from that location, you have door handles which have keyed locks. In addition, with all points of entry, grab rails for easy access in and out of the vehicle. Moving upwards, you'll find your mirror, which is a convex portion on the bottom, a flat section on the top. Difficult to see here. This is the black bullet style side-facing camera. Moving just to the rear of that section, you'll find your red auto eject plug. Moving up to the very top, you'll find your lights regarding the tank level indicator. Close up here of the side-facing camera. This is going to be your 30 amp shoreline inlet auto eject plug. And once again, a close up here of the tank indicator lights. Let's go ahead and move down to the pump section area. Let's first start in the upper left-hand corner near the Pierce logo. This is your auxiliary inlet, strainer, and drain for your foam system. In the upper right-hand corner, large diameter intake override. Moving to the left in yellow, 2.5-inch discharge, and then the associated 2.5-inch discharge override. Moving just inward of that location, a warning label regarding the hazards associated with pressurized caps. Moving down from that location, you'll find, this is your large diameter intake. Moving down from that location, we'll find your 2.5-inch discharge, and then moving just to the right, you'll find the 2.5-inch discharge override. Let's go ahead and move further over to the right, just underneath the large diameter intake, you'll find a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet and the auxiliary inlet override. Let's move all the way up to the top. You're going to find a variety of different, these are all turn, not pull style, and these are going to be drains and recirculating. Down at the very bottom, this is going to be your CAFS system.
and just beneath that you'll find the CAFS system outlet. Just beneath that you'll find additional drains associated with those individual valves that we just talked about. Once again, this is the auxiliary foam functions for inlet, strainer, and drain. These are those turnstile, which is the primer drain, recirculating line, flush valve drain, and manifold. Once again, these are all turn, not pull style. Let's go ahead and move down to the lower right-hand corner. This is going to be your CAFS air outlet and your auxiliary side auxiliary inlet. And you can see the associated override to the left of that. Located down at the very bottom, this is number 1, number 3, pump drain and auxiliary inlet drains. And on the right-hand side, you'll find your foam pump drain and also your manifold drain. Let's take a look at the compartment just up from those that we just talked about. We're going to find crosslay positions here. This is going to be a 2.5-inch crosslay. As we look down at the next section, you'll find additional crosslays and also this warning label regarding hazards of entanglement with those hoses. Moving to the next compartment, this is going to be your step compartment and storage. Once both doors are accessed, you can release and lower the step section, gaining access to the upper portion door. Once you've opened that door, you'll gain access to the pump panel controls. Let's go ahead and take a look at the base of the pump panel area. First, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner and work our way through. There are a set of switches. Those switches are going to be the controls for the heater, 12-volt on-off, rinse water pump on-off, and also the 120-volt heater on-off. All of those have indicators. You'll find your rinse water inlet valve, and on the very far right, the low rinse water level. And you can see on the right-hand side the rinse water outlet where you'll attach your discharge nozzle. Across the bottom, you'll find all the associated drains. On the right-hand side, you'll find an access door. Behind that access door is your foam handle control, horizontal for normal operations, for vertical is for filling. And you'll also find a protected switch here in red, which is your pump override, and also an indicator light for that. Once again, protected switch for that. Let's go ahead and move up to the very top of the pump panel. First, starting at the left-hand side, this is the panel gauge heater. It is automatic. And let's look at the foam A indicator tank. And then in the blue section, this is going to be your Hercules CAFS system and associated controls in this module. Moving to the right, you'll find your Tank 1 Class A foam. This is the control module for that. And in the gray section, you'll find your master intake, master discharge, and then there are 2 test ports in between. These are going to be for vacuum and pressure. Let's go ahead and look just slightly up from this location where we're at. You're going to find your Husky 12 foam system specifications and also instructions and a layout on the right-hand side. And then you're also going to find your monitor for all of your cameras. Let's go ahead and start in the upper left-hand corner. First, let's start. These are all going to be CAFS. This is going to be your green discharge for your front discharge. You also have a variety of different Acron electronic valves. Let's go ahead and move down an additional Acron electronic valve, and then to the right you can see individually labeled and also color-coded. This is going to be the number 1 crosslay. And as we move down, I just want to remind you all of these valves have the ability for locking. As we move to the right, this is going to be your master stream joystick for controlling that device. And then as we move further to the right, you'll find additional labeled discharges. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to find your primer for your fire pump. That's a minimum of 1,000 RPMs to operate that. And then just beneath that, you're going to find your pump heat control module indicators. And on the right-hand side, you'll find your Pierce governor. This is also going to have your pressure, volume, and also have your water tank indicator. Moving down to the lower section here, this is going to be your tank fill. You're also going to find a variety of different switches. We'll cover those as a little bit more close-ups as we move through those. And then we'll move also down to the lower section here, which is for your large diameter deluge. This is the extender for that deluge. Moving across once again, locking valves color-coded and labeled. This is blue for the 2.5-inch crosslay. And then as we move across, you'll find additional Acron valves. Those are all electronic valves, red and green indicators for opening and closing. As we move to the right-hand side, you're going to find your deluge discharge and also your reel discharge. And then once again, on the right-hand side, you're going to find 4 additional electronic valves, and we'll cover those a little bit more close and in depth. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to find the push-to-talk here in the blue section, and it's also the location where you would plug in your headset. Let's go ahead and move back up to that upper left-hand corner here. This is going to be a close-up here to help you have those things. First, that's your front discharge. It's also going to be the driver's side inlet and the passenger side inlet. You can also see that you got your EMX control here. You also have your 2.5-inch pre-connect in the upper right-hand corner. This is your Pierce control module for pressure and volume, and it also has your water tank and also associated RPMs and pressures. Let's move down to the next section here. As we look to the left, you're going to find the tank to pump and also the recirculating line, your extended gun for your Elkhart brass deluge. And then you have a bunch of electronic valves here. Once again, driver's side auxiliary inlet, deluge, and reel discharge. Moving further over to the right, you can see number 1, number 2, number 3, and large diameter electronic valves here. Let's look to the right-hand side of this location. You're going to find your Pierce minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. It's going to give you the GPMs and associated RPMs. At the very top, it also houses the job number. Also, a warning label at the very bottom regarding only trained personnel should operate this equipment. On the left-hand side, you're going to find your panel lights, driver's side scene light, passenger side scene light, rear scene lights, your pump compartment heater. In the red, it's going to be an air horn switch. Just beneath that, you'll find an audible speaker. You'll find your pump engaged, gate open, pump overheat, and also the next one down is going to be a amber PCM fault, and on the far right is going to be an audible speaker. Let's go ahead and look at the full compartment here next to this area. You're going to find at the very top, this is going to be 2 pull-out compartments and also a lower drawer that pulls out and a fixed shelf. At the very top, this is going to be your shore power battery charger. You can see when it's plugged into a shoreline outlet, require you to have your vehicle plugged in to operate. On the left-hand side, you're going to find a set of breaker switches in addition with a warning electrical hazard. This is going to be S1, which stands for shore power. This is your main, your battery charger, and also some receptacle plugs. As we move to the next compartment back, just over the rear wheel, you'll find a pull-out style drop-down shelf. Just beneath that, you'll find in front and rear of the wheel, you'll find additional compartment storage here. Let's take a look at the back section. You'll find access for filling your DEF and also your diesel fill. Let's look inside this compartment. In the very top, or I should say the very bottom in the silver cap, is going to be your diesel fill. As you flip that latch down, it'll expose the blue cap, which is going to be a 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. Let's go ahead and take a look here. This is going to be your rear wheel. On the front and back of it, you can see that you have your folding wheel chocks. And to the further location just underneath this compartment, you'll find an attachment point for winch and also the electronic plug-in for your winch in the red cap. In the upper portion of this compartment, you're going to find a shore inlet outlet. This is for power when you're plugged into shore power. Underneath, once again, this is going to be your wheel chock folding location, attachment point, and in red, electronic. Generalized view here of the driver's side and passenger side next. That'll give you a sense of the layout of where we're at. Let's talk about the components in the rear of the apparatus. Starting at the very base, you'll find that attachment point or tow hitch, in addition with your 12-volt access behind that red plug. On the left and right-hand side, you'll find your brake, turn, and backup lights. And underneath that, you're going to find emergency warning lights and step lights. Moving up from that location, you're going to find a rear-facing floodlight. Moving up from that location, you'll find rear scene lights. And as you can see on the left-hand side, you have a ladder. Be cautious of the pinch concept here. When you're pulling this out, read the instructions and be cautious of where your hand placement is. Located in the very center, this is the module for your rear or backup camera. And then just up from that, you're going to find your traffic advisor, which is controlled from inside the cab. Let's go ahead and move down to the very far right-hand side. This is going to be a full down step. As we move up from that location, you'll find ladder storage in this compartment. And as we move further up, you'll find additional compartments here for long pole storage. And at the very top, rigid hose storage. This is going to be your 9,000 pound maximum allowable winch rating. This is your hose bed lights. As you can see, this is going to be your backup camera and also your traffic advisor. And there are also warning labels here regarding entanglement because of that hose, and also warning for not riding on the back of the apparatus and the associated hazards. Behind this access door, you're going to find your ground ladders. This is going to be a 24-foot and a 14-foot roof ladder. Let's move down now to the center console roll-up door. Once we gain access into this, this is where you're going to find additional storage locations and also your red line or booster line. Lower section's your booster line. At the very top section, you'll find a pull-out shelf. To the right-hand side on the booster line itself, you'll find the reel rewind push button. Let's move out of this compartment and slightly up above those ground ladders, we'll find this access door, which houses long tool storage and also your 10-foot folding ladder. Up at the very top, you're going to find your suction hoses. There are 2 of those. And as we look to the left, these are going to be your hose storage locations. This is your 2.5-inch rear discharge. As we move just to the left of that, main hose storage location. And then we'll move all the way to the very left-hand side, an additional storage location for hose. Let's take a look at the top of the apparatus, and we'll cover some of the components within that area. First, covered hose bed. There's also covers for all your equipment storage locations and also perimeter taping for safety. Inside each of the compartments, you'll find interior lighting, LED, and you'll also find a material to allow you to have air circulation underneath those tools. Let's now move to the very top. Once again, center section of the apparatus. We'll talk first. This is your main water fill for top fill of your tank water. As you move to the right, this is going to be your foam tank fill for Class A. This is a latched compartment. This is also the location of your compressor for your CAFS system. Located on the CAFS system, you'll find this cap. This is your hydraulic reservoir. Once again, foam tank A fill. This is going to be a protected cap which has a latch on it. You can see it to the right hand side. As we move over to the opposite side, you're going to find your water fill location. Once again, this is your main water tank. Let's go ahead and look to the center. This is going to be once again in that same area. This is your deluge system. This is an automatic controlled by that joystick on the pump panel area. And as we move forward of this location, you'll find an additional water fill location. This is going to be for your system of rinse. It's got a protected debris ability to allow water to go through but not allow any debris in this tank. As we move to the right hand side here, we're going to take a generalized view. This is the front looking toward the rear of the apparatus. Let's now move to the lower section, rear side of the compartment. You'll find access here for your 2x2 inch winch location and also 12-volt access behind the red cap. Just up from this location, as it is on the other side for the winch location, you'll find additional storage. In the upper left-hand corner, you're going to find your shoreline outlet. This is a 15 amp plug and also a 12-volt access behind the silver bar. Located in the center compartment, you'll find a tool storage for front and back. This compartment door does move front to back. And then just underneath that, you're going to find additional bottle storage location for your SCBAs. And they also have straps for securing. This is just to the front of that same area. As we look in that compartment just forward of this, you'll find additional storage pull-out compartments on the bottom and also a access at the very top for shore power. This is going to be additional plugs here, 15 amp with a breaker on it also. Let's go ahead and look just underneath this compartment here. You'll find your exhaust. You're also going to find this exhaust warning label regarding extremely hot temperatures for exhaust. Be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. Let's go ahead and move forward midship here. We're going to take a look on the left-hand side warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards, and then also writing on the side of the apparatus for a warning for that. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner. This is going to be your water strainer cap. Moving to the right-hand side, you're going to find your Pierce logo, Eagle and American flag. This is your large diameter intake, and just up from that location in this cutout, you'll find the override for that inlet. Let's move down to the right-hand side. You'll find a 2.5-inch discharge port, and then you're also going to find the override for that. These overrides are for those electronic valves. Let's move down to the next section, the black cap here. This is going to be a large diameter discharge, and then just to the left of that large diameter discharge is the access point for your override. Moving all the way over to the left-hand side, this is your cab lift. This is a protected switch, raise and lower, and also the activate. And then on the lower section here, you're going to find all of the discharges. The first one is a twist, not a pull. Close up here of the water strainer. Let's move over and take a look at those discharges. Once again, this is your 2.5-inch discharge with the override, and then also your large diameter. Underneath here, you can see the twist for the water strainer, and then the others are all the drains for the associated labeled. This is going to be your cab lift. There's a raise and lower and an activate switch here. Be cautious when you lift for items that may be in the cab and not secured. Moving to the midsection, you'll find long tool storage, board storage location. These compartments also house the ability to have those hose storage locations removed, load the hose on the ground, and restore back into the compartment. And there's also an entanglement warning here. To release those speed loads, the lever underneath in between the two stickers will allow you to release those loads. Generalized view here in the rear section of the cab, 2 roll-up compartment doors on each side, and then a compartment in the center. We'll talk about that in a moment. First, let's take a look on the outside edges of the rear section. You have compartment storage, and then in the center, you have 2 forward-facing SCBA seats. These house SCBAs with inside the seat. Let's move now looking forward at the 2 compartments. You can find roll-up compartment doors here, interior lighting, and also adjustable shelving. As we look into the very front of the apparatus, you can find on the passenger side a supplemental restraint system airbag, also an associated warning sticker here regarding the blocking of that and checking your owner's manual. As we look up, you're going to find on all points of access for all doors additional warning labels here regarding the use of seatbelts. And then as we look just forward in this location, you'll find the fill for your windshield wipers. Let's now move up onto the dash. This is the passenger seat. You're going to find some 12-volt access points. The 2 black caps are barrel style, 12-volt access. And then there is also a siren brake and mechanical siren push buttons. Let's now move just to the left here. We'll talk a little bit about some of the components here. First, in the blue section, this is a push-to-talk for your radio main system. We also have a couple of control modules here, one for the Opticom and the others for your intercom. This is going to be behind the passenger seat. Let's go ahead and take a look overhead. You'll find your Sony, Bluetooth, Sirius XM weather band radio. As we move to the left of this location, you're going to find a pull string here for your air horn, and then all of your vents for air conditioning. You'll find in blue the 1/4-inch jack for your headset system, push on, push off, red and white lights. You'll also find 2 future locations for additional components just over the head of the passenger. And as we move to the driver's seat, once again on the left, you'll find those warning labels regarding the use of seatbelts. Down in the lower section, you'll find the air inlet chuck. And just to the right of this location, when you're plugged into shore power, this component will activate. This is your battery voltage, indicating fully charged or low for your battery. As we move just inside, you'll find your Pierce manufactured by. This is for Caldwell Fire and Rescue, your date of manufacture, job number, gross vehicle weight ratings, VIN number, fluid capacities, which has the component, fluid capacity, and also the fluid type. You can also find the VIN number on the A pillar on the driver's side, close to the windshield. Let's talk about some of the components on the dash. First, starting on the left with the ignition and start switch. Emergency master is the EM, your headlights, and the panel rocker switch. Let's take a look at your dash lights. First, you have transmission, DEF, oil, water, tachometer, RPMs, which is your speedometer, voltage, front and rear air, your fuel, and any information that may display above or below the speedometer and the tachometer. Let's go ahead and look overhead of the operator. First, let's move in on this left-hand side here. This is going to be a placard here regarding the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. 10 feet, 2.5 inches, 32 feet, 2 inches, and roughly 50 gross vehicle weight rating, 25 tons. This also has the job number. In the upper left, you'll find the emergency master, roof light, front warning, the side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. All of these switches have indicators that will illuminate when they are pushed on. Let's move to the right. We're going to find this set of switches. First will be the high beam flash. Next will be the opticom, which is the light on top of the vehicle. Your siren horn, electronic siren horn selector, and also the red siren brake. Moving to the right, you're going to find a pump pressure, digital readout, a tank vision for water, and also for your foam tank. Let's move just to the right of that location in the center. You're going to find your Pierce seatbelt information. This is when someone is sitting in the seat. As you can see here, it's red, indicating someone is in the seat, occupying it, although are not belted. If this was green, it would indicate someone in the seat and that they are belted. Moving just beneath this area, you're going to find the controls for your traffic advisor. This has the direction of indicator. It also has left, right, split, and flash, and the function for power, high, off, and low. Let's move to a set of switches here on the dash itself. You're going to find your front flood, driver's side scene lights, passenger side scene lights, rear scene lights, and also the backup lights. You're also going to find your stationary OK to pump and roll, your water pump, your foam system, your CAFs, a pump and roll switch, and the open TTP valve closed. And to the right, you'll find your windshield wiper. If you push that, it will flow the fluid onto the windshield wiper, and it's a twist for control or speed of that. Let's take a look to the next set of switches here just beneath this area. First, you're going to find your engine brake. It's an on-off switch. You also have the ability to select low, medium, and high on the engine brake. In red, you'll find your fuel primer. And a protected switch here is going to be your tire chains, mirror heat, and load manager. Just underneath this, you're going to find your Allison transmission pad. On the right-hand side, you can see there is an indicator here to pump in neutral. And on the left-hand side, you're going to find your pull to apply system parking brake in yellow and push to release. Just down from that parking brake, you'll see a set of switches here. Let's take a look at those. This is your main mirror and convex mirror controls. And then as we move more toward the steering column, we're going to find your high idle controls. This is an OK high idle indicator, and then the high idle on switch. Back up onto the dash, you're going to find your climate control for heat and air conditioning, and you also have a gray area for heat defrost. Let's move all the way over to the right-hand side. You'll find your monitor or zone defense here for all of your cameras. And as we move to the actual door itself, we're going to find, once again, those hazard and warning stickers. On the operator's left knee area, you're going to find the master battery switch, your engine transmission ABS diagnostic port, ABS diagnostic switch, DPN regen switch, engine diagnostic indicator, and also the regen inhibit switch. Moving down to the floor area, you're going to find your brake treadle, and off to the right-hand side, you're going to find your accelerator. Looking once again back into the rear compartment, the red hinged area handle is for gaining entry and exiting the vehicle. Those compartments have full roll-up door capability, which allows access to that top shelf. They're also lit. As we move back to the rear section, you're going to find next to the rear seats individual compartments that are also lit. Up on top, you're going to find right and left. These are LED lights. These are the charging stations for those. And then as we look overhead or directly above from where those lights are located, you'll find individual compartmentalized storage here. This is going to be the passenger side, and then moving over to this side, which is going to be the driver's side. Looking at that center console area, you'll find additional storage locations for map books or other identified items for storage and a storage strap. Congratulations, Caldwell, Idaho, on your new apparatus, job number 30709. If you have any questions regarding the content of this video or any further questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.